Can you talk a little bit about how breathing fits into that?
So for me, breathing is kind of the indicator of what's going on in your system. And really, the assessment starts when I watch you walk down my really long driveway, and I'm watching you walk. I'm watching how you react, reaction with your parents around. All those different things can come into play. Um, so breathing is going to be the thing that gets your system to start to reset. And a lot of athletes just don't know how to breathe. So sometimes it takes quite a bit of time to get someone who breathes that's never had a belly breath before or a performance breath. Um, you can start by, okay, we're going to press on your rib cages and things like that. Your rib cage and your sternum, and put your hand on your belly and try and make yourself fat. That's kind of my indicator is, can you make yourself fat? Can you press, I'll put my hand on their belly button and see if you can press my hand to the ceiling with your belly. And for some people, it's just a timing matter where they just don't have the timing to get the stomach to push up and breathe in. So when they get stuck, we have to go to other things like the breathe right strip, where you're going to put your fingers on your nose, or the Teletubby spot, just to kind of get them to relax. But another good one is your ear canals. Your ear canals are really something that responds and gets you to relax a little bit. And so I don't stick my finger in their ear, but you can put your finger in your ear and just start to massage around there. And if you think about your dog, what do your dogs always love? I mean, you can put them instantly in a trance if you start rubbing on their ear canal. And if you think about it, that's why a lot of kids like to walk around with their earbuds in. In an overstimulated world, they become addicted to their earbuds. And it's not that they're always listening to music. It's a relaxation method. It gets kids to relax. And so in my class, sometimes, because you know who your kids are, who have a hard time relaxing and calming down, I'll let them leave their earbuds in, or even one earbud in, because I know that neurologically that's a indicator or a stimulator to get their body to relax.
Right. And for people that don't know, you're a high school history teacher, right?
I teach high school history, U.S. history. And I know that's counterintuitive to what everyone thinks, but you think about all the stimulation that kids get, even if they're in a school and you've got all that wireless Wi-Fi going around fueling 3,000 computers, all the bright blue lights, the hard concrete floors or tiled floors, the sound that bounces everywhere. It's just an overstimulating scenario. And for some kids, I have found that just letting them leave their earbuds in, they do a lot better in class. So anyway, so once we get them to relax and I get them to breathe, one thing I like to do is I'll have them sit and fold over, and they'll actually try and push their body up, being bent over. So I don't know if you can see, let me.
So you'd sit with your knees on chest, or
yeah, I'm going to put my chest on my knees. And then if I belly breathe, I can actually feel my torso moving up. I know you can't see anything from here. But that gives you the feeling of doing it right. Because if you chest breathe, you're not going to move anywhere. And what's interesting to watch is each time they breathe out, they actually go deeper and deeper into that position. And so they can actually feel their whole body kind of melt away.
Is it kind of this battle of stimulation versus relaxation? Does it kind of boil down to that?
Oh, I think in most cases it does. Yeah, I think a high school student today is just completely overstimulated. I mean, even watch my own children study. Both my children study differently. They both do very well in school, but my daughter is up in her room. She's got music going. She's got a computer open, and it could be anywhere from 1 to 4 friends that are watching her study, or as they all study together. And she's doing her work. To me, that's way too much. And my son, completely different. God knows what he does up in his room, but I know that there's multiple things going on while he's trying to study. But I see that in all my students is there's just so much. Just to get your average student to sit and listen for 5 minutes is impossible. Even basic instructions, like what I like to do is I'll say in the middle of test, everyone put down A for 29, or put down this answer just to see who can track and who can follow. And I'll get 10 to 20% of the people, good students, I'm at a great high school, will blow it because they just can't, they can't receive. There's just too much going on in the world where they can't receive the basics. As a Nazareth football coach, Nazareth is a really good football team here in Chicago. He says listening is a skill, and it's a skill that most of you fail at, and so we will work on listening. I know it's way outside the scope of what anyone wanted me to talk about today, but that's the overstimulation that you're dealing with your athletes, your high school athletes. It's just coming at them nonstop, and they can't function.
Mm. I think that's really valuable though, because we talk about, I mean, with RPR, we talk about the idea of, you know, learning to thrive, and the basis of thriving is being able to simply exist in a world that wants to pull you away from yourself.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, there's very little internal things going on and a lot of external things going on, and we've bypassed the internal things for all the external things. Just bad example, my son again, I hate to pick on my son, he's a great kid, but you know, he is so stimulated with his video world that he'll forget to eat. And you can remind him to eat. Yeah, I'll get to it, but Cole, when's the last time you ate? Oh, I don't know. Not for a while. And then they expect to go do well in their volleyball game and stuff like that. I said, you've been so distracted by all these external things, you know, you can't function. And then you expect to go play sports. And I'm guessing my son is not the only one who's like that. I know other parents that say the same thing, that they become so obsessed with this external world that they lose the internal, the basics. And for a lot of these kids, it's going to come down to breathing. They forgot to breathe. To our students, because in Illinois, it's a big thing, social, emotional learning. And you have these teachers that come up who, I'm going to knock on my own staff or my own colleagues, but you know, they go up and we're going to breathe today. Okay, but aren't we breathing? Yeah, we are, but breathe more. There's no skill. There's no skill going on, and you're creating stress with athletes or your students that, okay, breathe. Well, now I got to think about doing that too. Isn't that basic? We've never given them a skill. Until you give someone that thing to do, something tangible or a task, you know, it's not going to happen.